Wednesday, April 2nd, Trump officially declares war on the world, a trade tariff war, dubbed a trade nuclear war by economic and financial circles. Public opinion widely sees this as a complete upheaval of international trade and the global economic order. Trump has proclaimed this day Liberation Day, his third such declaration following his election and inauguration, saying it will go down in history as the moment America permanently ended its era of being enslaved, exploited, plundered, and raped by the world, and began its resurgence to strength and greatness. He declared that the good days of America would now return and last. These are Trump's actual words. So, what exactly has happened? There are many voices, many takes. First, we need to clarify the facts. Trump supporters are celebrating wildly, cheering the so-called liberation and rebirth. At the same time, there's been a flood of criticism, mockery, and condemnation that this is the work of economic amateurs, playground math, a clown show, ChatGPT-level nonsense, like Empress Dowager Cixi declaring war on the world, comparisons to the Hoover Age Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act that helped crash the global economy and trigger a world war. And so on, and so on. A lot of commentary is full of sarcasm and outrage, rich in literary flourish but poor in rational analysis, more emotion than reason, more partisan bickering than solid political analysis. Some are sensationalized, others are just playing Trivial Pursuit. This is precisely the kind of moment where cool-headed, fact-based analysis is most needed. So, what did Trump actually do? And how has the world responded? This series will break it all down, episode by episode. In this first installment, we'll look at Trump's actions and the global reactions. The next 3 episodes will explore the tariffs themselves. Are they reasonable and legitimate? Can they succeed? The deeper motives and objectives behind Trump's launch of this tariff nuclear war. The risk of severely wrecking America, and how different parties should respond. So later episodes will touch on trade and economics, political implications, and the interplay of fear and greed. Stay tuned. The tariff nuclear war. Trump's moves have gone far beyond previous hints or expectations. This isn't a limited dispute with a few countries or products, it's a full-blown global tariff war, even including uninhabited islands in Antarctica. He's truly surpassed Empress Dowager Cixi. This is unprecedented, only by likes of villains in James Bond or Avengers movies. Thanos Trump. Here's what he's done so far. A universal 10% tariff on all goods exported to the US from every country, effective April 5th. Exemptions for only Russia, Belarus, North Korea, and Cuba. Additional punitive tariffs on countries with large trade surpluses with the US, up to 50%, starting April 9th. An extra 10% tariff on the UK, and 20% on the EU. 25% tariff on all foreign manufactured cars, effective midnight local time on the day of announcement. All these tariffs are cumulative, on top of previous tariffs like the 25% steel and aluminum duties, and others from the first Trump term. Some exemptions apply under NAFTA/USMCA for Canada and Mexico. The 14 countries hit with the highest punitive tariffs are all small or poor nations: Lesotho, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Syria, etc. Are these really America's strongest competitors, or greatest exploiters and plunderers? The calculation method for punitive tariffs has nothing to do with reciprocal tariffs. It's very simple. Trade deficit divided by US imports from that country, then cut in half, as a gesture of mercy. The maximum cap for steel and aluminum tariffs remains at 25%. Trump administration warns, no retaliation, anyone who dares will be doubly punished. Countries around the world have responded in different ways. Canada immediately announced reciprocal tariffs on US automobiles. France, the EU, and China issued strong-worded statements saying they are working on concrete countermeasures. On Friday, China hit back hard, imposing a 34% tariff on all US imports, along with other measures. EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen declared, "An attack on one member state is an attack on the entire EU, reciprocal retaliation is a must." Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, a Trump ally, slammed his EU tariffs as a mistake. The UK continues negotiations while simultaneously preparing a 400-plus page retaliation list. Mexico chose not to retaliate, expressing hope to resolve the dispute through negotiation, as many others. Numerous small nations, devastated by the tariffs, pleaded with Trump for mercy. Many governments rushed to intervene financially, offering emergency relief to help businesses and consumers absorb the impact of the sudden tariffs. The day after Trump launched the trade war, global stock markets plunged. US markets took a brutal hit, with the Dow, S&P 500, and Nasdaq dropping 4%, 5%, and 6% respectively, the biggest single-day drop since the COVID crash of March 2020. This time, Trump is called the virus. Wall Street analysts called Trump's tariff package worse than the worst-case scenarios they had predicted. A 54% tariff on Chinese goods stunned markets. 32% on Taiwan, 20% on the EU, all deemed major blows. Gold futures hit an all-time high, up over 18% this year, while the S&P 500 has fallen more than 4% over the same period. The AFL-CIO president called the tariff policy a step backward. Strategic tariffs can help support domestic industry and jobs, but only if paired with manufacturing investment and labor protections. Economists estimate the new tariffs will raise the average U.S. tariff rate to around 25%, ending America's status as the most attractive global market. Just hours after Trump's declaration of war, the Senate passed a bipartisan resolution opposing Trump's use of emergency powers. Tariffs on Canada. For Republicans crossed the aisle to vote with Democrats. The next day, Thursday, senators from both parties introduced legislation to limit the president's power to impose tariffs. Neither the resolution nor the bill is expected to pass the Trump-controlled House, and even if they did, they're far from the two-thirds majority needed to override a Trump veto. But the message is clear. Some say a U.S. and global recession is now unavoidable. Inflation is rising again. Fears of both severe inflation and stagflation are growing. Trump's Vice President J.D. Vance said, "The age of globalization is over. Low-income Americans will have to get through this on a very tight budget." Trump himself said, "The surgery is done. Now we wait for recovery. Just be patient." He was flying back to Florida to watch a golf game. On Air Force One, he told reporters, "The stock market will boom. America is about to see a great economic boom. 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 Will it? Next, is any of this reasonable? Can Trump's tariffs work? Or is he just burning down the house? That's next. Stay tuned. What do you think? Comments, doubts, and questions are welcome. If you enjoy our channel, please subscribe and forward to others. Thanks for watching Zindom USA. See you next time.